critique submission for Introduction to Digital Photography. So now that we've moved into the creative projects and are done with our technical projects, you are going to review each other's work and critique it, in this case, in a written form. You're going to review each other's images, give some feedback, some suggestions, give some kudos, make some comments of some sort, and we're going to do this all on Google Drive. So what you will be doing is taking your images in RAW, shooting them in RAW, bringing them into Lightroom, making some changes if you feel that they're necessary, and then export them as JPEGs. For critique, we will be reviewing JPEGs. Why? Because JPEGs are that universal file format that can be read by any software program, including Google Drive. If you were to upload a .psd or a .tiff or a RAW file, every student would then have to download those images, hundreds of them, to review them. We don't want to do that. That takes a lot of time. That's what I have to do when I grade. It takes a long time. So by writing the files in JPEG, students can click on them in Google Drive and look at them very quickly. So that's what we're going to do for critique, export for JPEGs, as JPEGs. Then, once everyone has reviewed everybody's work, you can go back and then review that feedback. Maybe there have been some suggestions made that you think are a good idea. Maybe somebody suggested, oh, maybe this image would look better in black and white. Or maybe you should enhance that blue a little bit more because it's really striking and it'd be great if it was even more powerful. Or maybe there was a bird flying through the scene which is distracting and somebody suggested that you should remove it. Or someone else may have said, well, you know, that blob in the right-hand corner there, that's not necessary. It's not helping with the image, so you should crop it out. Maybe even crop your image to a square. So once you've read your feedback and you've read your comments, maybe there are suggestions for improvement that you agree with. So you can go back into Lightroom, make those changes, and then export the image, and at this point just one, as a .psd or .tiff. Upload that to your folder, the folder you've been using all semester in which to submit images for my grading. You'll export that .psd or .tiff to your Google Drive folder and then provide that link in OnCourse like you've done all semester. So, camera angle and contrast, the assignment directions are here. But as we go down into next week, which is when it's due, you'll notice that there is a critique Dropbox. So in that critique Dropbox, when you open it up, you'll see that all of our creative assignments are listed there. And this is also where you submitted the first assignment of the semester, content and context. So notice here that I've also created a critique form. This is the form that you will use to review each other's work. And then within camera angle and contrast, you will submit your JPEGs and your feedback form. So the first thing you want to do is take this feedback form and make a copy. And then once it's made, rename it. And rename it something that relates to you and the assignment so students know whose assignment they're working on. So you would say Liz, camera angle and contrast, critique, or whatever you want to call it. Just something that signifies that it's you and what assignment it is. Then you're going to move that into the folder that you created here in camera light and camera angle and contrast. So you could move it in there first. And then as you'll notice, I've already created a folder. The other way to move to, of course, is to select the the document, go into Move To, and move it into the folder. Once we get into the folder, you will see that I did this before because I made a lousy video, a lousy screencast before, and I got rid of it, so I'm doing it again. This is the one that I made a little while ago, so I'll delete that. And then I uploaded my 2 JPEGs that will be in the folder there with it by simply going to New, File, Upload, and uploading the JPEGs, these 2 images here, uploading the JPEGs into the folder. Then we've got this form here, and every person in the class will click on this form. You do not have to review your own work, but everyone else will review everybody's work. And on this, I have everyone in the class's name listed. So you'll just write beside your name. I have at the top what I want you to be thinking about. I want you to think about which one, since there are at least two, which image do you think is the most successful and why? Discuss things such as problem comprehension. How well did the student understand the assignment? How well did they develop it? How creative were they in that development? And of course, technical execution. How was the exposure? Are there things in it like birds or people that you think are distracting? Could it use a little bit more contrast or a little bit more color? Things like that. You don't have to write paragraphs. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to write an entire page. Just a few sentences as to what you think about the imagery. Is there one that you prefer, and why? Then when you're done, it will automatically save. As soon as you're typing, it will start saving. And then when the critique review is over, students can then go back and review these, go back into Lightroom, make changes if need be, and then export that from Lightroom as a .psd or TIFF and submit that for me to grade. So that's the critique submission process.